Shabbat Shalom, and welcome back once again to the Virtual House Church. I'm Juan Carlos, and it's a blessing, as I'm always telling you week by week, to be with you here in this new Shabbat, keeping the Torah of Yahuwah, keeping His covenant, keeping this important day that is a sign between us and Yahuwah, here with you all, my dear brothers and sisters. So, it's so relevant that we are staying here, especially in a day like this, that is 25th of December, and the entire world is going, celebrating these pagan holidays and in darkness. And while we are here keeping Shabbat, keeping the Torah of Yahuwah. And this is something to be humbled in our hearts and to have a just gratitude toward our Elohim, because by His grace, by His favor, He opened your eyes and opened my eyes some long time ago to His truth. And He has given us the strength to overcome any circumstances through all these years. I know that these dates and this portion of the year is a little bit problematic for all of us, especially when we have family around us that are not following the same way. And that's why, I think it's only Yahuwah, the one who has given us the strength to endure. And this is exactly what we have doing so far, and it's exactly what we're doing today. Being set apart, being kodesh to Yahuwah by keeping His Torah, keeping His commandments, because we love Him. And that's why we do it. So thank you so much for being with me here. We are just came to the end of this amazing and great Sefer book of Yahushua. And it's been an interesting journey. It's been a very interesting study going into the details of this book. And it is such an amazing way to get to the end of the book, and we will read together because it's only 2 chapters. So we will go and read the 2 chapters here online, and we will share the part of the insights that the Ruach will lead us today. That this portion and this part of the book and this part of the study is so relevant even for today, for those of us that we have decided to serve Yahuwah, for those of us that we have decided to keep His truth and keep His commandment and to keep His ways. And not only because of today, it's only because of what's going on in the world in our times. I think it's becoming more evident than ever about those that had decided to keep a different style of life, those that had decided to live differently, to be that peculiar people, those that had decided to go in the direction of the river of Yahuwah and not going in the direction of the current of the world. And that's why, what we are going to read today is so relevant to what we are living and what we are going through in our times. So, I think the entire book of Joshua has come in the perfect timing. That's the way that I feel it. It has come in the perfect timing in order to show us, by studying it, the importance to stay strong in Yahuwah. As we studied in the first portion, is to be strong and courageous. And we have seen this throughout all the study of this book, that this is the main message of this book, to be strong and courageous. And this message is becoming that relevant more than ever in this time, because you and me needs to be strong and courageous in the word of Yahuwah. We need to stay firm in the conviction of the truth of Yahuwah in our hearts. And this is the main takeaway of this entire study of this book, at least for me, and is being reinforced in such an amazing and a great way in the portion that we are gonna study today. So once again, welcome to the Virtual House Church, and thank you so much for being with me today. Unfortunately, I haven't heard any news about Jake, so it seems that he's not going to join us today. So I will ask you to keep him in your prayers. We need to keep Jake in our prayers. I have no information about him. So let's pray to Yahuwah that he's going through good moments, that anything that's is in his need, or maybe some challenges that maybe he's going through that I don't know, that Yahuwah can be with him like he's always be with us. So, yeah, before starting, as we always do, this is an important thing that I always tell you, is to invite everybody to go to the Virtual House Church website that you can see in the screen. And this is something that we always need to remember, is that the Virtual House Church was a project started by our dear brother Rob Skiva back in 2012 with his wife Chile Skiva. And it has been for such an amazing blessing for all of us. I think, and I'm gonna get tired of to say this always, that I think a Virtual House Church has been a fundamental source of truth on my way, on the journey that I have been walking so far in the truth of Yahuwah. Virtual House Church has been a blessing, and we need to endure with this blessing, and we need to share it with others. And Yahuwah put it in the heart of Rob to put this project together back in 2012, and he was able to to keep it for so many years. And he had collected so much information over here that is with the purpose to serve the Mishpacha, is to serve the family of Israel, is to serve the people of Yahuwah, you and me, in order to study his word, in order to go back to the basics. That's the purpose of Virtual House Church. And we praise Yahuwah that he has given us the chance to continue Virtual House Church until today. This is something that has been put in my heart, and we need to be obedient to the word and the voice of Yahuwah. And I think it's been so important that Rob felt in his heart when we start again the Virtual House Church back in 2020. In the middle of all this craziness that started in the world, that it has been serving as an additional platform for all of us that we are going through this process, and for all of us that we are going through the challenges, for all of us that we have decided to serve Yahuwah, in order to gather together, at least virtually, Shabbat after Shabbat, in order to greet each other, in order to talk between each other, at least in the chat, in order to share the insights of the word of Yahuwah, in order to study the word of Yahuwah, in order to encourage ourselves to stay strong in the word, to stay strong in the way. And Yahuwah does things sometimes we don't understand why, but there is always a purpose on everything he does. And the only fact is in my heart that he put in Rob's heart and in my heart to start this back in 2020 is in order for us to be together, for us to be ahead in these times of difficulties, in order to strengthen our conviction and our emunah, our faith, by being together, at least virtually, by using this platform, and to be gathering week by week. And, I have been telling you, while we have the chance to do it, we will continue doing it, because it's more important than ever that we go back to the basics, that we go back to the word of Yahuwah, that we go back in order to understand what's the purpose of Yahuwah to our lives in these times. I have been telling you this more than once, in the previous weeks is that Yahuwah decided in his wisdom to put you and me in this generation. He decided in his wisdom to put you and me in these times. And we need to understand what's the purpose that he had for you and me. And we have been studying and talking about this week by week. We know what is our purpose. And the purpose is similar to what we see in the map here. He has been awakening us to his truth in order to be light into this world full of darkness, in order to show the world what it means to serve Yahuwah, in order to show the world what it means to stay strong in the rock that is Yahuwah, in order to show the world that there is hope to this world. And that hope is through Yahushua HaMashiach and the coming kingdom of Yahuwah in this earth. This is exactly what our purpose. And Yahuwah saw something in you and something in me in order to decide that we were the ones appointed for these times. So we need to be strong and courageous. We need to get that strength from Yahuwah in order to serve him with all our mind, with all our strength, with all our being, in order to fulfill the purpose that Yahuwah intended for you and for me in these times. And we see what's going on in the world, and it's so beautiful to see this map and to see, and there's not everybody is over here. I can tell you, I'm not here in this map. I should be here in this part of the world, as you can see in the mouse here. I'm not here in the map, and as I'm not here in the map, there are many people that most probably, brothers and sisters, are not here. So even when we see this map, we see so many blue dots around the world, and just acknowledging that most probably there are many other people, brothers and sisters, that are not here. It's just to be humble and praise Yahuwah as well. Again, that he has been awakening us to the truth. And this is so important because just imagine that this map is completely dark and those points are just points of light. This is what Yahuwah is looking for you and is looking for me, that we need to bring that light. And sometimes it doesn't matter that we say something. Sometimes we don't need to say something. There is no need of words. We just need to show through our actions that we live for Yahuwah and we serve Yahuwah. And I think in these times, it's more relevant that through our actions and our decisions, we can show the world that we are serving Yahuwah Elohim. So, I was reading the scripture this morning before studying the portion. And I have been telling you in the past that sometimes I open the scripture and where I open it is where I read. And I landed in the book of Amos, in the last part of the book, and in the chapter 9. And I want to put this in the screen because I want to share it with you. And there were two passages in the chapter 8 and in this page that belong to the chapter 8 and the chapter 9 that took my attention. Let me put it here in the screen. So it was the chapter 8 and 11, and let's read it together because I think this is exactly what's happening in the world today. And somehow it's related to your purpose and my purpose. It says in the verse 11, and you can see it in the screen. The days are coming, declares the Master Yahuwah, that I shall send a hunger in the land, not a hunger for bread, nor a thirst for water, but for hearing the words of Yahuwah. And they shall wander from sea to sea, and from north to east. They shall diligently search, seeking the word of Yahuwah, but they shall not find it. So we know that this is exactly what's happening today. It's just to see the mindset of the world, the mindset of this generation, that they are totally apart from the word of Yahuwah. And we see that hunger happening in our times. We see that thirst happening in our times. And we see the darkness that is blinding the people of this age, that they don't understand that that hunger and that thirst they have is related to the word of Yahuwah. They are not able to see that they are in need, in so much need of the truth of the word of Yahuwah. And this is where your purpose and my purpose is. Because we are not of those that are in hunger and in thirst of the word of Yahuwah, because we have decided that the word of Yahuwah will dwell within us. And we have decided and we endure until the end. We are not going to be in hunger, not in thirst. To the contrary, we need to be eating the word of Yahuwah. Sometimes we don't do it because we put our focus in the world. And I have been telling you, even myself, I'm going through those times sometimes. But the difference is that the Ruach is always telling us in our heart, in our minds, that reminding us that we need to cling to Yahuwah, that we need to devour the word of Yahuwah in order to grow. And by doing that and by hearing and being obedient is the way that we are going to increase and we are going to get the strength in order to fulfill our purpose and in order to bring the light to the others. And, and the other part that I saw, and I think this is becoming important, and I was very amazed when I saw it. And this is starting in chapter 9, verse 9 forward. And it says the following: For look, I am commanding, and I shall sift the house of Israel among all the nations, as one sifts with a sieve, yet not a grain falls to the ground. All the sinners of my people are going to die by the sword, those who are saying, evil does not overtake us, nor meet us. And, I think that sifting is happening in front of our eyes. That sifting and this word is being fulfilled in our times. And the portion that we will study today, that's why it's becoming more relevant than ever, as I said. Because if we made the right decision and we endured in that right decision till the end, we are going to go through this process of sifting, and we are going to be part of the kingdom of Yahuwah by the hand of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's continue reading, because this the way that is finishing is so great. And it says in the verse 11, In that day I shall raise up the booth of David, which has fallen down, and I shall repair its breaches and raise up its ruins, and I shall build it as in the days of old, so that they possess the remnant of Edom, and all the nations on whom my name is called, declares Yahuwah, who does this. Look, the days are coming, declares Yahuwah, that the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the trader of grapes, him who sows seed, and the mountains shall drip new wine, and all the hills melt. And I shall turn back the captivity of my people Israel, and they shall build the waste cities and inhabit them, and they shall plant vineyards and drink wine from them, and shall make gardens and eat their fruit, and I shall plant them on their own soil, and not uproot them any more from their own soil I have given them, said Yahuwah, your Elohim. The sifting is happening, but the promise is coming. And that promise is that you and me will be gathered from the four corners of the earth, and we are going to receive the inheritance. In the same way, we have studied in this amazing book of Joshua how Israel, that generation of Israel, received the promises. They inherited the land. We are a new generation of Israel, And the promise is coming, as it is written in this book, the promise that we are going to be planted in our own soil. We are waiting for that time, and the desire of our heart is increasing day by day for that time to happen. And this is also an evidence of the time that we are living, that our heart is beating, even more with desire to be gathered by the hand of Yahushua HaMashiach. So, brothers and sisters, I think what's happening in the world today. We need to see the evidences. Mandates are coming to our own countries. What's happening in Austria, what's happening even here in Latin America, in Ecuador. I was looking into the news. Mandates are coming for children from 5 years old onward to adults. An immediate mandate of what I'm talking about. I don't need to be so obvious in order not to be tagged in this video. But this is happening, I think, in this year 22, according to the Gregorian calendar, that everybody's expecting in the world. We will see more things happening, more the prophecies being fulfilled. And that's why, this is the time for us to get strong in the word of Yahuwah. This is the time to rely only in Yahuwah. He is our strong tower. He is our strength. I was reading the book of Yehudit this morning. And there are so many parallels also to what's going on today. But one of the messages that I got from that book is that this is the book of Judith, in case you didn't understand. That no matter the difficulties that we are going through, the whole story, if you have not read this book, is that the people of Israel was being attacked by different armies from the world, and they cut the water in one moment. And they were getting, thirsty. Without water, they were going to die. And they were almost going to surrender to the enemy. But Judith, she reminded about the faithfulness of Yahuwah. That even though that we're going through difficulties, even though that we don't have the supplies we need for our bodies, that we need to remember that Yahuwah can protect us, that Yahuwah can provide, that Yahuwah can help us and save us. And this is exactly what needs to be our mindset today. That we don't need to be in fear. Not at all. We need to be in hope and in faith that Yahuwah is with us. And if He fights the battle for us, we are going to win. And we know how the end of the story is. And we are waiting for that time. And this is exactly what we need to cling. What we need to hold fast is that we need to take very strongly from the hand of Yahushua HaMashiach, because He will be with us through the valleys of the shadow of death. And we know that we are going through that, but we are going to pass through that till the end in order to inherit the kingdom of Yahuwah. So, brothers and sisters, I want to go to the portion, but I needed to deliver these words that were in my heart. And like always, if it's something in my heart, I have to be obedient in order to share it with you. So I have a song to share with you, and somehow it's related to everything that I have been saying so far. So let me put it in the screen, and then after that we are gonna start with the portion of today. So here we go.
Adonai, mi yakum צבאות. מי יצום על בוח אדם, מי יחזיק מעמד, מי ישמע את קול אדוני קורא ואומר, זהו דור נושע מבקשי פני שרים, כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד. זהו דור נושע מבקשי פני שרים, כל הכבוד. ונקום במקום קודשו, ונקרא בשם אדוני צבאות. ונצום על מוח אדם, ונחזיק מעמד, ונשמע את קול אדוני קורא ואומר, זהו דור נושע מבקשי פני שרים, כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד. זהו דור נושע מבקשי פני שרים, כל הכבוד, 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 כל הכבוד לך על מה שעשית, על מה שאתה עושה, על מה שעוד תעשה. אבא, אבא טוב, אבא טוב, כי הפרוכת נקראה ואנחנו מתקרבים לתוך הקודש, קודש הקודשים. הפרוכת נקראה ואנחנו מתקרבים לתוך הקודש, קודש הקודשים. הפרוכת נקראה ואנחנו מתקרבים לתוך הקודש. אבל מאמינים שהפרוכת נקראה ואנחנו מתקרבים לתוך הקודש, קודש הקודשים. כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד. מבקשי פניו שרים כל הכבוד, כל הכבוד, אנחנו דורשיו, מבקשי פניו שרים כל הכבוד.
We must be that generation, that generation, as the song said, that we are seeking Him, that we are seeking His face. And this is the time, brothers and sisters, that we need to show the world. Most importantly, we need to show our Abba Tov, that we are that generation, that we need to show Him what truly is in our heart, the desire and the love for Him in order to seek His face. And we'll invite you to close your eyes, to lift your hands to heaven. Let's pray together before going to study this portion. Abba Tov, Abba Kadosh, we pray to you in this moment, giving thanks to you, Abba, because your favor has been upon us, and because of your grace toward us, is that we can be here today, keeping a new Shabbat, honoring your word, your covenant, loving you by keeping your commandments, loving you by following the steps of Yahushua HaMashiach, because he is the one showing us the way back to you, and how we have to keep your covenant and your word in the true way. We thank you, Abba, with all our heart, because you have set us apart in your word, especially in a day like today where the world is celebrating something that is totally against your word. We are here in order to serve you. We have decided with our heart, with our mind, to serve you, Abba, the only true Elohim, the creator of the heavens and the earth. And the only thing that is in our heart is love for you and the desire to be obedient to your word, because we know that in your word we find hope, we find truth. And in these times that the world is going crazy, in these times that the world is going into more darkness, is when we need the most to be closer to you, to the true light, to the hope that you give us. And we know that after the storm we are going to have the calm and the peace. And that is coming by the hand of Yahushua HaMashiach, because he is coming back and he is going to establish your kingdom on earth. And we put our trust and our hope in that destiny, in that north. We just ask you, Abba, to give us the strength in order to endure until the end. We ask you, Abba, in this moment to give us the faith in order to be that generation that you intended for us to be. Give us the strength in order to endure. Give us the strength in order to be like your servants of old, in order to serve you until the end, to go through the challenges with the head and our eyes looking into you, understanding that we are not part of this world, we are part of your kingdom. We pray in this moment now for all of your children that are going through difficulties, your children that are going through need, that you can provide. We believe in your power and we believe in your promises. And we ask you, Abba, that you can go for those that are brokenhearted, that you can give peace and shalom, that you can provide to any need in one of your children that are going through needs. And especially that you can unite us, no matter the distance, no matter that we are in the four corners of the earth, that we can be a in you. And we ask you, especially, that your presence be with us during this study, that you can open our eyes, open our understanding, in order to see what we have not seen before, in order to receive your truth, in order to receive your wisdom. Thank you for this time of prayer. Thank you for being our Elohim. Thank you for being our Abba Tov and our Abba Kadosh. We pray to you in this moment, Abba, with all our heart, in spirit and in truth. And we do it in the name of Yahushua HaMashiach. Amen. Amen. So let's go to the book of Joshua. And as I told you, this is the last portion of the book of Joshua, is the chapter 23 and the chapter 24. And we are going to read it together. I think it's not that long study, but it's coming with so many great information and so many great insights just by reading, what Joshua ben Nun, Joshua son of Nun, was telling that generation of Israel. So we're going to read together. I don't have so many notes as I usually ask. So we will let the Ruach guide us today. So let's read together. We are going to start in the chapter 23, verse 1. And as I have been inviting week by week, take your scripture, take your word in your hand and read along with me. And in case you don't have it, you have this in the screen, what we are going to read together. So let's start. It says in the verse 1, and it came to be a long time after Yahuwah had given rest to Israel from all their enemies round about, that Yahushua was old, advanced in years. And Yahushua called for all Israel, and for their elders, and for their heads, and for their judges, and for their officers, and said to them, I am old, advanced in years. And you have seen all that Yahuwah your Elohim has done to all these nations because of you. For Yahuwah your Elohim is he who was fighting for you. And I'm going to stop here for a moment because this is resonating within me with the words that I was sharing with you just a few minutes ago. We have been studying the entire book of Joshua. And, a few weeks ago, I was telling you that it was so interesting to see that the challenges were increasing, that the challenges that Israel had to face, that generation of Israel had to face, were getting difficult and more difficult time to time. The challenge was increasing and getting more big. But we see here how Joshua ben Nun is telling that generation exactly what is written in the verse 3. You have seen all that Yahuwah your Elohim has done to all these nations, and listen to this, because of you. For Yahuwah your Elohim is he who was fighting for you. And this is speaking to me, and I hope this is speaking to you as well. Because, when we decided to walk in this way, in the way of Yahuwah, I know that we have been going through difficulties. In my own life, I have been going through different difficulties. And during those difficulties, we can see how Yahuwah has been going with us, helping us along the way, giving us the understanding about those tests and those challenges we have been facing. in our journey. And sometimes, when we receive that understanding, we comprehend that it was needed for us to go through those challenges in order to form, that character, to get that strength that is directly from Yahuwah Elohim, in order to prepare us even for a time like this, for a time like the one that we are living today. In order for us, in the same way that Joshua ben Nun is telling that generation, is Yahushua HaMashiach telling us today that we have seen all what Yahuwah has been doing for you and for me. And if we go back a little bit more, since the time that we came to this world, and I can tell you, in my own experience, even though in that time that where I was not walking 100% in the way of Yahuwah, when I see back, I can see how the powerful hand of Yahuwah was with me all the time, helping me, guiding me in the way, until he woke me up to his truth. I'm still learning. All of us are still learning. We are going to be Talmidim, disciples of Yahushua HaMashiach until the end of our days. But it's so important when we look back and we see how Yahuwah has doing everything for us. When what is resonating to me is exactly why. And the why is here. He have done it because of you. He had done it because he loved you and he loved. And this is just showing us the heart of Yahuwah. This with this small phrase that Elohim has done to all this nation because of you. Everything that we have been going through, every provision from Yahuwah, every challenges that the purpose of those challenges is to teach us something. It's because of the love that Yahuwah has for you and for me, the love that Yahuwah has for his people. And this is just to reinforce even the ideas that for the same reason, Yahuwah has been the one fighting the fights for Israel. And this is just to give us the courage that we need. This is just to give us the hope we need, especially in these times, is that if Yahuwah fought the fight for that generation of Israel, he is the one that has been fighting the battles in our individual lives throughout our days. He is the same Elohim that is going to fight the battle for his people and for this generation. Once again, we don't need to fight with our hands. And we have seen this throughout the entire Torah, and especially throughout this book and the cycle of the Virtual House Church. How was Yahuwah the one fighting for them the fights and the battles? Even when they were the few in numbers, Yahuwah Elohim was the one giving them the battle, winning for them the battle. And in the same way, he will do it again. We just need to be patient, and we need to wait on Yahuwah, and we need to trust in his promises. And we need to realize and we need to acknowledge that Yahuwah is the one who had been doing everything for you and for me, and is the one that is going to do it once again for his people Israel. So we were taking, even reading in the book of Amos. So let's continue reading. See, I have divided to you by lot these nations that remain, to be an inheritance for your tribes on the Jordan, with all the nations that I have cut off, as far as the great sea toward the setting of the sun. And Yahuwah your Elohim thrust them out from before you, and shall drive them out from before you, and you shall possess their land, as Yahuwah your Elohim has promised you. Let's keep in mind, and we were reading in the previous portion of this book of Joshua, that they inherited the land. Especially, last week we were studying that Yahuwah was faithful to all the promises. They finally got the rest that Yahuwah promised to them. They rested in their land, in their own soil. So, but they were not able, they were unable to drive out all the nations. And this is exactly what Joshua is telling them. They had something else to do. They needed to remove entirely the 7 nations. In Torah, in the book of the Deuteronomy, it's written, I think in the chapter 7, that Yahuwah was not going to remove completely at once the 7 nations. It is written that he was going to do it little by little until a great destruction over the enemies of Yahuwah was going to come. So it was part of the purpose of the children of Israel. It was part of the plan of Yahuwah for the children of Israel, for them to drive out the 7 nations. And we will study, in the coming book, that they failed. They failed. And it's my belief that those 7 nations are still in this world. And the one that is going to destroy the 7 nations, who is that one? Is Yahushua HaMashiach. He's coming with the 2-edged sword that is going to cut off the enemies of Yahuwah. But we are part of that people. We are part of the nation of Yahuwah. So our purpose, maybe not physically, because the one he's going to do it is Yahushua HaMashiach, but spiritually we are fighting a battle. And we have been speaking this week by week, especially last week. There's a spiritual battle that's going on in our times. So it's up to you and up to me if we are going to take our part, if we are going to decide for Yahuwah, and if we are going to fight the battle, this spiritual battle. If we are really serving Yahuwah, if we are really having the strength of Yahuwah, and we really having the Ruach with us, we're going to take our part in this spiritual battle. And we are going to know that Yahuwah will fight the battle for us. I think this is part of our purpose in these days, by bringing the light of Yahuwah in order to fight that battle against the spirit, the evil spirits, the demons that are taking control over the world. And the only way to do it is by taking the word of Yahuwah and bringing the light of Yahuwah to this world. What is our sword? This one is our sword. It's the word of Yahuwah. It's not the physical word. It's the word of Yahuwah. Everything that is written. It's not the book itself. It's every word that was written that, is so amazing and beautiful to see that Yahushua is the word made flesh. So everything that is written here somehow is represented in the life of Yahushua HaMashiach. So the way to fight this battle, is by the entire word of Yahuwah, being by the side of Yahushua HaMashiach. Let's continue reading. Verse 6, and you shall be very strong to guard and to do all that is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, so as not to turn aside from it, right or left. So, obedience, and we have been talking about obedience for so long already, is that we need to be strong every time that we are seeking the face of Yahuwah, every time that we are asking for strength. That strength, as it is written here, is in order to endure until the end, in order to fulfill our purpose. And enduring until the end, what it means is exactly what is written here. In order to guard and to do all that is written in the book of the Torah of Moshe, so as not to turn aside from it, right or left. You remember that we were reading a study a few weeks ago that all of them that are going to take refuge in Him, in Yahuwah, are going to be safe, are going to be protected. how we're going to be protected and we're going to take refuge in Him. The only way to do it is we are allowed to be with Him. And I think in the chapter 24 that there are more things related to this. Is that and how we are going to be able to enter and be with Him and to be under His roof is by doing what He's looking us to do, is by keeping His word. And when Yahushua said that we need to endure until the end, this is exactly what He meant. Endure until the end. Because the winds are so strong, especially in these times. The waves are so tall and so strong that if we are not strong enough in Yahuwah, we can fall down. So enduring until the end means that we are going to stay firm in the conviction of the word of Yahuwah in our heart. We are going to stay firm on what Yahuwah has put in our heart. We are going to stay firm until the end in what He has shown us, in what He has taught us so far. Staying firm in His truth and in His way of righteousness. So it is said in verse 7, so as not to go in among these nations, these who remain among you, and make no mention of the name of their mighty ones, nor swear by them, nor serve them, nor bow down to them, but cling to Yahuwah, your Elohim, as you have done to this day. And this is something so beautiful, especially, as I told you at the beginning today. Today we can see an amazing difference. And not to be proud is to be humble. That Yahuwah has opened your eye and my eye in order to get out from the system of the world that is celebrating something that is totally against the will of Yahuwah. But we are celebrating something that is good before the eyes of Yahuwah by keeping His Shabbat. And this is exactly, when we see this, it's saying that, not to go in among these nations, these who remain among you, and make no mention of the name of their mighty ones. It's going even to the point to say that we need to change our language. We need to change the way we talk. We need to change the way we make decisions, not to swear by them, not to serve them, nor to bow down to them. And we have been studying for weeks already what are the idols and the idolatry of today. And we see that the darkness and that idolatry in front of our eyes in our day-to-day. When we decide to replace Yahuwah as the center and the focus of our life and to put something else or somebody else instead, this is idolatry. This is forsaking Yahuwah. This is not to remember Yahuwah. We were discussing at the beginning of this book about this, is that we need to remember Yahuwah all the time. So, for me, when I was reading this, it came to my mind immediately what is written in the book of John, 1 John. And let's go there because it's important. And I did a study a long time ago about that. It's about even the words of Mashiach, that we are in the world, but we are not part of the world. And this is exactly what was happening with Israel back then. They inherited the land, but the nations, not all the 7 nations were driven out. So they were in the world, they were among the nations, but they were not part of the nations. And this is exactly what's happening today in our days. In the book of 1 John chapter 2, it says the following: do not love the world, nor that which is in the world. If anyone loves the world, the love of the Father is not in him. Because all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh, the lust of the eyes, and the pride of life, is not of the Father, but is of the world. And the world passes away, and the last of it, but the one doing the desire of Elohim remains forever. The one doing the desire of Elohim remains forever. And this is exactly the goal that Joshua, son of Nun, Yahushua ben Nun, was telling that generation of Israel, that no matter that the nations are round about, we are not part of that nation. We cannot get with those nations. We cannot go according to their system. We need to cling to Yahuwah. And he's going even further to mention I think it's in the verse 12 and 13. Let's go there. But if you do turn back at all and cling to the remnant of these nations, these that remain among you, and intermarry with them, and go into them and they to you, know for certain that Yahuwah your Elohim shall no longer drive these nations out from before you, and they shall be snares and traps to you, and a whip on your sides and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from this good land which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you. This is exactly what's happening to us if we decide to live according to the world, according to the system of the world, instead of living according to the system of the kingdom of Yahuwah. And in these times that we are living is when we can show the most what it means to decide for Yahuwah instead of deciding for the world. It's becoming more notorious for anyone that we have decided to live differently, that we are in the world, but we are not part of the world. So no matter that we are surrounded by nations, by people that have their own traditions, that they have their own idols of today, that they have their own system of beliefs. If everything that they are doing is not aligned to the truth of the word of Yahuwah, we need to stay strong, to walk to the north, to the kingdom, to the hope of our hearts, to be with Yahushua in the coming kingdom here on earth. This is exactly, what I see written here for that generation that is so related to us today. So let's continue reading. Verse 8, but cling to Yahuwah your Elohim, as you have done to this day. This is exactly, what we need to do. And, this is so important when I was reading this, is that, for me, it was around 2012 when I was walked up by Yahuwah to his truth, to his ancient path, to his entire word. And since 2012 has been a journey for me until today. For you, maybe it was before that or was after that, but in your own experience, you have been awoken by Yahuwah to his truth. That's why you are here with all of us today. Is that we made a decision back then. We made a decision, and depending on the experiences, sometimes it took us more time to make the decision, or maybe we get the strength in order to cut some things immediately that created some kind of difficulties around you when you were making those decisions. And I can share you many experiences in my side, and most probably you went through similar experiences. But what's the point that I want to make? We made that decision, no matter that the time that it took for us to make it. But it's not a decision that we need to make only once. It's a decision that we need to make day by day, because sometimes our emotions are so strong, and that we are attached so much to some traditions, and we are attached so much to a system of a life that we receive and we inherited from our fathers and from our families and our forefathers, that sometimes it's very difficult to get rid of those things. So The decision we made once is something that we need to do day by day. Even in the words of Yahushua, when he's saying that we need to endure until the end. Enduring until the end, it means that we need to make that decision in a daily basis. When times are coming in order to prove us, in order to try us, it's a moment to make a decision. I will serve Yahuwah. I will stay firm in His truth. I will keep the same decision that I made at the beginning of my walk. And this is exactly what we need to do today. You know, when we read the book of Maccabees, we see everything that they were going through back then, all the persecution they suffered by the Greeks and by the Romans later. But only few of them decided to stay strong in the truth of Yahuwah. But they needed to decide it again when they were suffering persecution. And this is exactly when we see here, at least in what I'm getting here for me, I'm sharing for you, is that but we need to cling to Yahuwah as you have done to this day. If until this day we have clung to Yahuwah, if we have decided for Yahuwah, we need to continue with that decision. And we need to continue with that decision until the end, no matter what's coming ahead of us, no matter what's coming into our ways. We need to continue with the decision that Yahuwah is the one providing to us, that Yahuwah is the one giving us hope, that we depend 100% on Yahuwah. Let's continue reading. For Yahuwah has driven out from before you great and strong nations. As for you, no one has stood against you to this day. One man of you put 1,000 to flight. For Yahuwah your Elohim is he who is fighting for you, as he has promised you. You know, and this is being repetitive. He is the one fighting for us. Why we need to be afraid? Why we are going to be in fear? Yahuwah is the one fighting for us. You know, our emotions can make a trap for us, that we are going to doubt in one moment that we are going to be persecuted and we are going to fail. But when we decide that we are going to wait on Yahuwah, and when we decide that we are going to be by the side of Yahuwah until the end, there's nothing to fear, even not death, because we know that if we endure until the end, we are going to inherit the kingdom, even if we are going through death. That's the way we need to decide for Yahuwah. That's the way we need to cling to Him. And you shall diligently guard yourselves to love Yahuwah your Elohim. But if you do turn back at all and cling to the remnant of these nations, these that remain among you, and intermarry with them and go in to them and they to you, let me put a stop here, because we see two decisions here. As always, we see in the scriptures, we see Yahushua HaMashiach speaking about the two ways. You know, the narrow path and the wide and broad path that is leading us to perdition, and the narrow path that is sometimes difficult and hard-pressed, but is leading us and guiding us to the everlasting life and to the kingdom of Yahuwah. We see Moses talking about the two ways as well. The way of serving Yahuwah and getting the blessings, that is basically is to have life, the way of life and the way of death, blessing and curses. And we see here again the same picture, is to cling to Yahuwah, as we read in the previous verse. Here, cling to Yahuwah as we have done today, or to cling to the nations. What it is here. If you do turn back at all and cling to the remnant of this nation. So we have a decision to make. Are we going to serve Yahuwah, or are we going to serve the world? And as I have been telling you, you know, today is more even easy to see it. Are we going to believe the system of the world, Or are we going to believe in Yahuwah Elohim? And I think you and me already made that decision. We are going to believe in Yahuwah Sebaot. We are going to believe in Him. And we need to stay in that decision and in that truth. Know for certain that Yahuwah your Elohim shall no longer drive these nations out from before you, and they shall be snares and traps to you, and a whip on your sides and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from this good land, which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you, blessing and curses, life and death. If we stay by Yahuwah, we have life. If we follow the steps of Yahushua HaMashiach, we have eternal life, or death if we deviate from the true path of Yahuwah. And see, this day I'm going the way of all the earth, and you know in all your hearts and in all your beings that not word has failed of all the good words which Yahuwah your Elohim spoke concerning you. All of it has come to you, and not one word of them has failed. And you know, that's the same promise for us. Yahuwah is so faithful. He is walking the talk. If He promised something, He will fulfill it. And there are so many promises throughout all the scriptures that He is going to be with us, that He is going to gather us from the four corners of the earth, that we are going to inherit eternal life, that we are going to be part of the kingdom of Yahuwah if we endure until the end. All of those promises and many more. That He's going to be faithful to those promises in the same way that He was faithful with this generation. He is going to be faithful with us. It says, no one word has failed of all the good words which Yahuwah your Elohim spoke concerning you. You know, and He spoke when he was speaking in the Mount Sinai. He was speaking not only for the generation that was standing before the mountain. It is written like that in Torah. He was speaking for the coming generations. And it was exactly in the same way that Yahushua HaMashiach was praying for His disciples. And not only for His direct disciples, He was praying also for you and me, the ones that we were going to receive His word by the mouth of His direct disciples. So the promises, and because we are part of the people of Yahuwah, because we are part of Israel by the hand of Yahushua, those promises are for us too. And Yahuwah will be faithful to His word if we are faithful and we endure until the end. And it shall be that as every good word has come upon you, which Yahuwah your Elohim promised you, so Yahuwah does bring upon you every evil word, until He has destroyed you from this good land, which Yahuwah your Elohim has given you, when you transgress the covenant of Yahuwah your Elohim, which He commanded you, and shall go and serve all their mighty ones, and bow down to them. And the displeasure of Yahuwah shall burn against you, and you shall perish quickly from the good land which He has given you. And you know, when we're going to study the book of Judges, we will see this exactly happening. And we see something going on in the world today, especially in the coming generation, that people don't remember Yahuwah. People, this generation, especially in the world, they rely so much on the current system. They rely so much in technology. They rely so much in the health system. They rely so much in government. They rely so much in the social justice. They rely so much in what man or woman can do. But they forget Yahuwah Elohim. And this is something that has been, happening for the few decades already. If the mindset of the current generation has changed so much dramatically, This is something that didn't start yesterday. This is something that started a few decades ago. And it's my belief, I have been studying, as I was writing in the chat earlier today. I've been studying this week especially about the ideologies in the world today and the mindset of the people today, especially that is driven the politics of the world in the different countries of the world. And this is so amazing to see that in every aspect of society today, all the aspects that I had mentioned already, politics, economics, social, health, even religion, has been so impacted through decades and has been changing so much that the result of those changes has been introduced in the world is the mindset of the current generation. So this is exactly what we see indirectly in the words of Joshua ben Nun in the end of this chapter. He is reminding the people of Yahuwah that there are two ways, the way of blessings and the way of curses. And in the same way that Yahuwah has been faithful to the promises and to the good, he is going to be faithful as well to the curses if we do wrong. And this is so important when we look at it in this way, because the decision rely on you and rely on me. We decide. Yahuwah is not forcing and pushing us in one specific direction. He just showing us the two options. And it's up to us to decide what option we will take. If we will get the blessings by being faithful to his word, or we are gonna get the curses by doing what is wrong before his eyes. If we are gonna decide for Yahuwah by serving Yahuwah, or we are going to decide for the world by serving the world. Yahushua said that we cannot serve two masters, because if we serve one, we are gonna hate the other. He was speaking about money in this case, but this is totally relevant for any aspect that we can see. We are gonna serve the world and the system of the world, or we are gonna serve Yahuwah and the system of Yahuwah. So, and the mindset of the people and the current generation has changed so dramatically, as I was telling you, as part of my current study, is that this is something that was done for decades. That, by seeing what's happening in this generation, is for us to be more humble. That Yahuwah was compassionate on you and me, to open your eyes and open my eyes, to see his truth. And for that, we have also an obligation to share with others that are not awake in the same way, especially the current generation, young people, that their ideologies, their mindset has changed so much. And we were discussing here at home all this week about this. Especially today, I made this comment that maybe we have not done a good job by showing to these generations what it means to follow the word of Yahuwah. We were not awake before in order to teach and lead the generations. But it's never late. And if Yahuwah call us out of the world and show us his true way, now is the time for us to take part of what he intended for you and for me. And he's always in control. And if we are getting to a point in this world and in this system that the current generation has been brainwashed, because this is exactly what has happening. in order to forget Yahuwah and to put their hope and their eyes in the system of the world. Still not late. Until Yahuwah let that happen in order to fulfill his word. And the only fact that we see everything is happening in the world today, and we see fulfillment of the scripture before our own eyes, maybe would not happen if the generation we have today could be acting in the same way that is acting today. So this is also a reminder for us that Yahuwah is always in control. And if Yahuwah is in control, and part of his decision was to let this generation to be in this way, but also part of his decision was to woke you up and woke me up, is in order to bring that light, in order to bring the truth of his word to this generation. So that's why we need to pray always to Yahuwah that we need to be strong enough in order to endure until the end. We need to be strong enough in order to decide for the blessings. And not only for that, is in order to, as soon as we decide for the blessing in our day-to-day, is in order to bring that good news, that hope, especially that hope, to the current generation. That the only way that they are looking for that hope is in man and in woman, because they don't know Yahuwah Elohim. We need to let them know Yahuwah Elohim every time that we have the chance to do it. And in the chapter 24 of Joshua is going even more in details about this is what I'm saying to you. So let's read it together. Let's start in the verse 1 onwards. Daniel was asking me, and I cannot be very specific in my comment here, what's going on in my country. There was an election of president last weekend, and something happened in the results of the election. And we are in the expectation of what's going to happen starting next year. The transition is in March next year for the new government, and there is a government from the left, and could be an extreme left. We don't know yet. And that's why I have been studying this to the light of the scripture. And why I'm telling you this is because, the results of the elections was driven mainly by the youth, current generation. But interesting enough, you see this movement happening all over the world in different aspects of society. And this is not because man decision. The only fact that this is a movement that's happening all around the world is something related to the scriptures. It's everything based on the scriptures. I'm talking about left movements or communism, socialism, and things like that. I will invite you because I'm studying world history somehow at the light of the word of Yahuwah. And when you start studying about the current mindset of society and about this movement happening all over the world, you can see things at the light of the word of Yahuwah. That I have been so amazed this week especially, that how all this movement is totally related to the prophecies of the end times. And I have been telling you, even in this virtual house church, sometimes, that we are not part of this world. We are not the ones that we need to take sides in different groups that we see here happening in the world. In any aspect, in politics and so on. We need to be observant of what's happening, because we don't belong to the world. If we get engaged to these kind of things, we are going to be part of the world, and we have not been called for that. We need to observe everything that's happening in order to understand the times that we are living, in order to be prepared and in order to have the light of Yahuwah, in order to understand what we need to do and what is our part in all of this. So I will invite you to study all of this once again, because, even French Revolution, if you go back to these points, you will understand everything, have been happening throughout world history. It has so much to do with the state of the world today in order for Scripture to be fulfilled. And by understanding this, we are going to be able to see things differently and to reinforce the faith and the hope of Yahuwah in our heart and to fulfill our purpose, and in order to talk to current generations in the same way that Paul was doing with his generation, with their own speech, in order to engage them and to teach them and to make them remember Yahuwah Elohim Sebaot. Sorry to deviate for the topic, but I have been telling you, and I'm gonna get tired to tell you. If I feel something in my heart, I will speak up, because I think it's important for us to open our ears to hear and open our eyes to see what's happening in the world, looking with our spiritual eyes, with our spiritual ears, to understand what's happening and to acknowledge that everything that's going on in the world is part of the plan of Yahuwah, that He's always in control. And if we decide to serve Him and to be at His side, we have part of the plan too. So let's continue reading, brothers and sisters. Let's start in the verse 1 of the chapter 24. And Yahushua gathered all the tribes of Israel to Shechem and called for the elders of Israel and for their heads and for their judges and for their officers. And they presented themselves before Elohim. And just to put a stop here, the short stop, it's interesting, and we didn't get to any conclusion here at home, is that in the previous chapter, everything that happened happened at Shiloh. Because there, in that place in Shiloh, is where they established the Mishkan, the tabernacle. But, in this last chapter, Yahushua ben Nun, decided to gather all the tribes of Israel in Shechem. Why he decided to do it in Shechem, not in Shiloh, I don't have the answer. But I'm wondering if this is a foreshadow of end times. It is written in the book of Ezekiel that we are going to be gathered into the wilderness of the people, and that He is going to get into judgment with us, face to face, in the same way that He did it with Israel in Har Sinai. And the interesting part of all of this is that when we study, and we were studying exactly this point last week in the previous portion, is that Shechem was a city in the inheritance of Ephraim. So somehow it's related to the 10 tribes of Israel, the 10 lost tribes, Ephraim. And not only that, Shechem was one of the cities of refuge that was given to the Levites in the inheritance of Ephraim. So it's reinforcing, and again, this is my current understanding, it's not the answer. I don't have the answer, I'm just sharing with you what I see. Could it be that maybe this is a foreshadow of the second Exodus? All the tribes of Israel being gathered together in a place of refuge in order to enter into judgment, because this is exactly what's happening in this portion. So interesting to look into it and to study in more details. But let's continue. And Yahushua said to all the people, "Thus said Yahuwah Elohim of Israel, long ago your fathers dwelt beyond the river, Terah, the father of Abraham, and the father of Nahor, and they served other mighty ones." And when I was reading this, it was so beautiful because it reminds our own journey. It reminds what has been my experience and most probably what has been your experience. You know, our Father, even us, we were beyond the river. Our fathers and even ourselves, we were serving other mighty ones. We were not serving Yahuwah completely. You know, look into this reading and this chapter based on your own experience, what have been going through your own lives, what Yahuwah has been doing for you and for me. So let's continue. So I took your father Abraham from beyond the river and caused him to go through all the land of Canaan and multiply his offspring and gave him Yitzhak, this is Isaac. And to Yitzhak, Isaac, I gave Jacob, and Esau. And to Esau, I gave the mountains of Seir to possess. But Jacob and his children went down to Mizraim, which is Egypt. Then I sent Moses, and Aaron, and plagued Mizraim, as I did in their midst. And afterward I brought you out. And I brought your fathers out of Mizraim, Egypt, and you came to the sea. And the Mizraeans pursued your fathers with chariots and horsemen to the Sea of Reeds. And they cried out to Yahuwah, and he put thick darkness between you and the Mizraeans, the Egyptians, and brought the sea upon them, and covered them. And your eyes saw what I did in Mizraim, and you dwelt in the wilderness a long time. And I brought you into the land of the Amorites, who dwell beyond the Jordan, and they fought with you. But I gave them into your hand, and you possessed their land, and I destroyed them from before you. And Balak son of Zippor, sovereign of Moab, rose up and fought against Israel, and sent and called for Balaam son of Beor to curse you. But I refused to listen to Balaam. So he continued to bless you, and I delivered you out of his hand. And you passed over the Jordan, and came to Jericho. And the masters of Jericho, the Amorite, the Perizzite, and the Canaanites, the Hittite, and the Girgashite, and the Hivite, and the Jebusite fought against you. But I gave them into your hand. And I sent the hornet before you, which drove them out from before you. Also the two sovereigns of the Amorites, but not with your sword or with your bow. And I gave you a land for which you did not labor, and cities which you did not build, and you dwell in them. You eat of the vineyards and olive trees which you did not plant. So, I'm going to stop there for a moment. What Joshua started to do, and when I was reading, just came to my mind somebody else that did exactly the same. We're going to read about it. Is that he started to relate to all of them from the very beginning, the entire journey. He was inviting them by relating once again the entire story to remember Yahuwah, to remember what Yahuwah has been doing for them, for his people Israel throughout the different generations. And I think it's so important for us, in the same way that Joshua ben Nun was doing for Israel, for us to do it time to time, is to look back, not to go back, is to look back, to remember, understanding what Yahuwah, through the hand of Yahushua HaMashiach, has been doing for you and for me. As we were seeing, in the entire story, challenges after challenges, but not only challenges after challenges, salvation and blessings after blessings, salvation after salvation, blessings after blessing, promises after promises. No matter if the challenge increased, the power of Yahuwah and the blessing of Yahuwah will increase even more if we stay with him. And who made a similar speech? Let me see if I found it. I think this is in the book of Acts, chapter 7. And this is the preach on the word that the Stephen was given to the priests. And it's so amazing to see that somehow this is totally correlated, because it says in the Acts chapter 7 verse 1, and the high priest said, "Is this so?" And he replied, this is Stephen, "Men, brothers and fathers, listen. The Elohim of steam appeared to our father Abraham when he was in Aram Naharayim, before he dwelt in Haram, and said to him, come out of your land and from your relatives and come here into a land that I shall show you." He started the story and related the story almost at the same point that Joshua, son of Nun, started to relate it to that generation of Israel. And he went, if we go, I'm not going to read it entirely, and he went to explain and to relate exactly the same phases and what they did, how they deviate and depart from the way of Yahuwah. And there is one important point, and this is, I think, the most important aspect of the reason of why Joshua, son of Nun, was relating this to that generation. The same reason that the Stephen was relating this to his generation. And we will see it when we go back to the book of Joshua. But let me look for this here. I think it's going beyond. Because, there is always a purpose on relating the story. And again, just keep this in mind, how we can apply this to our own lives. So here is starting. So after Stephen relating all the story, he started to say the following: "You stiff-necked and uncircumcised in heart and ears, you always resist the set-apart spirit, the Ruach HaKodesh, as your fathers did, you also do. Which of the prophets did your fathers not persecute? And they killed those who before announced the coming of the righteous one, of whom you now have become the betrayers and murderers, who received the Torah as it was ordained by messengers, but did not watch over it. And hearing this, they were cut to the hearts and gnashed the teeth at him." What was the whole purpose of relating the entire story? Is to remember Yahuwah, is to remember what he has done for us, is to remember that his true path, the way of righteousness, is the only one that is going to give us blessing, is the only one that is going to give us life. And this is exactly what we see in the book of Joshua, what Yahushua ben Nun, was doing with them. He was relating all the stories just for them to remember what Yahuwah did for all the forefathers and the generations. And after he was mentioning and relating the entire story, he did the following: "And now, fear Yahuwah, serve him in perfection and in truth, and put away the mighty ones which your fathers served beyond the river and in Mizraim, and serve Yahuwah." So he was telling them, now that you remember what Yahuwah has done for you, now fear Yahuwah, remove idolatry from you, give a Kodesh way, be set apart for Yahuwah. And if it seems evil in your eyes to serve Yahuwah, choose for yourself this day whom you are going to serve, whether the mighty ones which your fathers served that were beyond the river, or the mighty ones of the Amorites in whose land you dwell. But I and my house, we serve Yahuwah. The same decision is the one we need to make today and every day of our lives. We need to decide if we are going to serve Yahuwah, if we are going to fear Yahuwah, if we are going to love Yahuwah, or we are going to serve the mighty ones of the world, if we are going to serve the system of the world. You know, when I was reading this, I remembered this story of Elijah with the prophets of Baal. And the entire situation is that the mighty one that was going to present himself with fire and to consume the offering, that one was Elohim. And Elijah was telling them, until when you are going to be doubting in two ways, between two ways. If Yahuwah is Elohim, serve him. If it's Baal, serve Baal. You know, there's nothing new under the sun. As Shlomo said and wrote, there's nothing new under the sun. And we see it clearly here. Joshua telling the people of Israel exactly this. Decide now for yourself. Choose this day whom you are going to serve. I already made my decision, he said. I'm going to serve Yahuwah. You need to make your decision. Elijah made exactly the same claim. Stephen was doing exactly the same thing. And now it's Yahushua HaMashiach, the one telling us, day by day, asking us and saying to us, decide whom you are going to serve. And you know, today is more important than ever that we made the right decision. And the right decision is to serve Yahuwah Elohim Sebaot until the end. Is to put our trust in Him and to shine His light in this world full of darkness, so the world can understand and see and remember that Yahuwah is Elohim, so they can be able to make that decision too, that they can serve Yahuwah Elohim. So let's continue reading, because this is so important in the way that it's written. And it says, and the people answered in the verse 16 and said, far be it from us to forsake Yahuwah, to serve other mighty ones. For Yahuwah our Elohim is He who has brought us and our fathers up out of the land of Mizraim, Egypt, from the house of bondage, who did those great signs before our eyes, and has guarded us in all the way that we went among all the people through whom we passed. And Yahuwah drove out from before us all the people, even the Amorites who dwelt in the land. We too serve Yahuwah, for He is our Elohim. So the first answer is we are going to serve Yahuwah as well. And you know, it was very interesting because it didn't end in this point. Joshua came back to them and he insisted and he said the following. Then Yahushua said to the people, you are not able to serve Yahuwah, for He is a set-apart Elohim. A Jelusel is He. He does not bear with your transgression and with your sins. If you forsake Yahuwah and shall serve mighty ones of a stranger, then He shall turn back and do you evil and consume you, after He has been good to you. And you know, when I was reading this, I remember what is written in the book of Isaiah, Yeshayahu. Let's go there in the chapter 1. When he was saying that you are not able, he said, to serve Elohim, Yahuwah, because He's set apart. And what is written in the book of Isaiah, chapter 1, verse 10 to 17, it shows us that, you know, our actions are so important, because through our actions we complete our emunah, our faith, in order to show and demonstrate to Yahuwah our love for Him, and to show Him that we really have decided within us to serve Him through our actions. And it says the following, hear the word of Yahuwah in the chapter 1, verse 10 of the book of Isaiah. Hear the word of Yahuwah, you rulers of Sodom. Give ears to the Torah of our Elohim, you people of Amorah. Of what use to me are your many slaughterings? Declares Yahuwah. I have had enough of ascending offerings of rams and the fat of the fed beasts. I do not delight in the blood of bulls or of lambs or goats. When you come to appear before me, who has required this from your hand to trample my courtyards? Stop bringing futile offerings, incense. It is an abomination to me. New months or Chodeshim, Shabbat, the calling of gatherings. I am unable to bear unrighteousness and assembly. So it's a lukewarm people serving two masters or trying to serve two masters, doing unrighteousness and doing assembly, trying to serve Yahuwah. My being hates your Chodeshim, your months, new months, and your Moadim, appointed times. They are a trouble to me. I am weary of bearing them. And when you spread out your hands, I hide my eyes from you. Even though you make many prayers, I do not hear. Your hands have become filled with blood. Wash yourselves, make yourselves clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before my eyes. Stop doing evil. Learn to do good. Seek right ruling. Reprove the oppressor. Defend the fatherless. Plead for the widow. We see clearly here that through our actions, we can demonstrate if we are prepared to serve Yahuwah. If our actions will show what really are within us in our hearts. If we are becoming a Kodesh, a set-apart people or not. If not, in the same way that Joshua, son of Nun, was saying, you are not able to serve Yahuwah because you are not good. We see here Yahuwah speaking through the prophet Yeshayahu, Isaiah, that we need to clean ourselves. We need to learn to do good. We need to seek right ruling. We need to keep Torah. We need to understand and learn how to live the life He intended for us to live. So, understanding this, we see why Joshua was insisting to them, asking the question, decide whom you are going to serve. And this is the second time he's pushing them in this direction. Let's see what they answered. And they answered the following in the verse 21. And the people said to Yahushua, no, but we do serve Yahuwah. So they were insisting, no, we will serve him. We do serve him. Then Yahushua said to the people, you are witnesses against yourselves that you have chosen Yahuwah for yourselves to serve him. And they said, witnesses. So Yahushua was going to ask them 3 times. And I think there is a purpose behind that. I will mention just in a minute. Just stay with me for a minute. Because in the 3 times they answered, we will serve Yahuwah. And they said, yes, we will be witnesses of our decision. But he continues saying the following, Joshua, son of Nun. And now, put away the mighty ones of the stranger, which are in your midst, and incline your heart to Yahuwah Elohim of Israel. And the people said to Yahushua, Yahuwah our Elohim we serve, and his voice we obey. And Yahushua made a covenant with the people that day, and laid on them the law and a right ruling in Shechem. Then Yahushua wrote these words in the book of the Torah of Elohim, and he took a large stone and set it up there under the oak that was by the set-apart place of Yahuwah. And Yahushua said to all the people, see, this stone is a witness to us, for it has heard all the words of Yahuwah which he spoke to us, and it shall be a witness against you, lest you lie against your Elohim. Then Yahushua sent the people away, each to his own inheritance. So, we see reference to witnesses. We see reference to decision. We see Yahushua ben Nun, Joshua son of Nun, pushing and asking the people to decide to whom they are going to serve. We have our witness, as is in the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach. You know, we have the witnesses of the earth and the heavens that they're going to speak once again. Even Yahushua said, and we will remember this at home with my wife, is that Yahushua said even the stones are gonna speak, worshiping him. So all of that will happen. The most important thing is that the blood of Yahushua HaMashiach in the tree and his offering is the most bigger and greater witness for all of us that we have decided to serve Yahuwah Elohim. And what I felt when I was reading this 3 times that Yahushua was mentioning and asking the people is exactly what we see in the book of John. And I think this is the purpose of asking them these 3 times. You go to the last chapter, the book of John, chapter 21. We see the following happening between Yahushua HaMashiach and Kepha. This is Peter in the verse 15. It says the following: when therefore they had eaten breakfast, Yahushua said to Shimon Kepha, Shimon, son of Jonah, do you love me more than this? He said to him, yes, Master, you know that I love you. He said to him, feed my lambs. He said to him again, the second time, Shimon, son of Jonah, do you love me? He said to him, yes, Master, you know that I love you. He said to him, shepherd my sheep. He said to him the third time, Shimon, son of Jonah, do you love me? Kepha was sad because he said to him the third time. Can you see the emotions going on here? I put myself in the shoes of Kepha, Peter, and the master asked him 3 times. I could understand, or I can believe that the master is not trusting in my answer. He's having doubts of my love. That's why most probably Kepha got sad. Because he said to him the third time, do you love me? And he said to him, Master, you know all. You know that I love you. Yahushua said to him, feed my sheep. I do believe that the reason that Yahushua was asking 3 times to Kepha is to get to the inner part of him, is to really understand, and not Yahushua to understand, because he knew all, exactly as Kepha answered the last time. Is for Kepha, Peter, to understand and to see what really was in his heart. By asking the 3 times, Peter, Kepha, really understood what was really here in his heart. That he loved really Yahushua HaMashiach. Joshua Nun, it's my belief, was doing exactly the same. He was asking the people of Israel to make a decision. And he was asking 3 times, with what purpose? Is for them to understand and acknowledge and to answer directly from the heart that they were going to serve Yahuwah, that they were doing it in Ruach, spirit, and in truth. And there is a passage that I think is totally related to it. In the book of Deuteronomy, Devarim. It's part of the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Yahuwah Eloheinu, Yahuwah Echad. Chapter 6 of Devarim, Deuteronomy. Let's go to verse 4. It says, Hear, O Israel, Yahuwah our Elohim. Yahuwah is one. And listen to this in the verse 5. And you shall love Yahuwah your Elohim with all your heart. This is one. With all your being. This is two. And with all your might. This is three. Yahuwah is asking to love him in three different ways. That the three different ways needs to be had in our love for him. With all our heart, with all our being, and with all our might. It could be that asking these three times is to get the conviction within us in these three aspects of how to love and serve Yahuwah. With all our heart, with all our being, with all our might. What Yahuwah wants from us is what is in our heart. That we have to serve him entirely, not only with our body, not only with our mind, not only with our heart. As a one being, as being echad, as he created us. So asking the three times is just for us to understand and get the conviction that in these three aspects, we are deciding for Yahuwah. We are not deciding only to serve him externally. We are not deciding only to serve him emotionally. We are deciding to serve him spiritually, emotionally, physically, with our entire being. That all our being, as he created, we are giving it to him. And this is so important for us to realize. And in the decision, you know that Yahushua is asking us every day, decide whom you are going to serve. Decide this day whom you are going to serve. Let's ask that question to ourselves. And let's decide for Yahuwah the three times. Let's get convicted by the Ruach that we are going to serve Yahuwah Elohim with all our heart, with all our being, with all our strength. The times that are coming ahead, brothers and sisters, are going to be the times for us to demonstrate to our Elohim that we have made the decision for him. In the same way that the moment of the golden calf, the Levites decided to be at the side of Yahuwah by going to Moshe when he drew the line in the sand. That time already started in the sifting that's going on today. And we need to make the decision every day that we are going to decide for the side of Yahuwah. That we are taking the hand of Yahushua HaMashiach to follow the path of righteousness and the way of Yahuwah. No matter the winds, no matter the storms, we are keeping our decision to serve Yahuwah Elohim. If we decided the three times at the three levels of our being, nothing will move us from the love of Yahuwah Elohim through Yahushua HaMashiach. As Paul wrote, nor death, nor persecution, nothing will move us from that. And it's my belief, in the days ahead, if we decide to serve Yahuwah in this way, the Ruach will manifest himself so strongly in his people, in you and me, that we are going to be able to live the same experiences that we have been reading all these years. But in order to do that, we need to decide for Yahuwah, to serve him in Ruach, in spirit and in truth, to worship him in spirit, in Ruach, and in Emet, in truth. and to seek his face. Let's be that generation, as the song said, that we are going to seek his face, to worship him, and to serve him. So, brothers and sisters, this is the message of today. This is what I felt in my heart. As I told you at the beginning, it's been a wonderful cycle in the book of Joshua. As I said, I do believe that it came right on time. And just to praise Yahuwah that he has been helping us to continue this journey and continue this study. Before I forget, I have heard that the fellowship after the broadcast is an amazing fellowship in the Discord server. So I will invite you to go there, Karen or any of the moderators, if you can put the link. I think it's going to bless you in order to continue in fellowship. You don't have the chance to continue there. Keep enjoying Shabbat. Keep seeking the face of Yahuwah. It's so easy to deviate from that focus. I'm telling you by experience. But Yahuwah is so wonderful and compassionate that the Ruach is always telling us, remember me. Put your focus. Put in order your priorities. And we need to be obedient to that voice. We need to seek his face more than ever. And for me, it's been a blessing studying this book. I think, when, and this is beautiful as well. When I started to read the first time in 2012, the entire scripture, I don't know what happened to me, is that I didn't start in Bereshit. I supposed to do it. I started in the book of Joshua. I started in the book of Joshua. And that's how my journey started, studying the word of Yahuwah in the book of Joshua. And he started to open my eyes to his truth in this book. I was not able to connect everything because I skipped the most important part, that is the Torah. But he used this book as the starting point. Yahuwah used this book as the starting point for my journey to start opening my eyes to his truth and the way that he wants to have a relationship with me and with his people. And by studying it again and remember this just now, that this is the way that started my journey, and just feel joy in my heart of all the blessings that Yahuwah has brought to my life. And no matter the difficulties that I have been going through and the challenges, I can say now with a strong voice that the decision I made to serve Yahuwah has been the most beautiful decision, a more important decision I had made in my life. And I have been insisting and sharing with you that we need to make this decision day to day. Because that's true. We need to decide for Yahuwah day by day. And brothers, and sisters, let's not be in fear of what is coming. I told you at the beginning of the broadcast, I think what's coming ahead soon to our door. My wife has been having some dreams about it. I have been having some dreams about it too. I think it's going to be difficult and it's going to be a huge challenge. But we have been made for challenges, because when the challenge increases, compassion, blessing, and the power of Yahuwah also increased. So, we will continue. We'll continue, as I have been telling you, with Virtual House Church. Next week, we are going to start with the book of Judges, Shoftim in Hebrew. I haven't separated yet the portions. I hope to do it in the coming days. So I'm gonna publish a post in the channel, and also I'm gonna ask the moderators to post it in the other platforms. So you are gonna be able to see how the portions are gonna be divided. But as I told you, it's my heart. I will continue until I have the chance to do it. Let's take advantage of the blessings of Yahuwah that He's giving us the opportunity to join week by week, Shabbat after Shabbat, in this space of time to talk about His word and His truth. Until we have the chance to do it, we will do it. So be prepared. Next week we are gonna start with the book of Judges. There are so many. Just remember it by heart. There are so many important things in that book that is a continuation of what we have been seeing in the book of Joshua, that I think is going to be just spot on the time that we are living. It's going to be just on time. It's a continuation of the encouragement on the word of Yahuwah in the book of Joshua. And remember, be strong and courageous and decide to serve Yahuwah. I think those are the most important items and takeaways from these books. And also, if I want to add an additional one, challenges increase, but compassion, blessings, and the power of Yahuwah also increase for His people who decide to serve Him with all their hearts, with all their being, and with all their might. So, brothers and sisters, thank you so much for joining me today. As always, we are gonna finish with the Aronim blessing, and we will see you in the next week in the next Virtual House Church. So until then, Yahuwah be with you all, and many blessings in this new week.
יברכך יחוה וישמרך, יאר יחוה פניו לך וחונקה, יישא יחוה פניו לך ויעשה לך שלום, יישא יחוה פניו לך ויעשה לך שלום, ויעשה לך שלום, ויעשה לך שלום.
Yahuwah bless you and keep you. Yahuwah make His face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace. Yahuwah make His face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. Yahuwah lift up His countenance upon you and give you peace.
Yahuwah te
Yahuwah haga resplandecer su rostro en ti y tenga de ti compasión. Yahuwah alce su rostro sobre ti